Stephen called me up one day and had me fly back to Connecticut. And he said, I got a dozen docs here. And he said, we're going to draw blood on every one of them. And we're going to put dark field, white field, and so we can look at the blood. And then we're going to ground them for 30 minutes or an hour. And then we'll go back and look at it. The first thing we learned was that all the blood separated instantly. So the question became, and all these docs said, well, this is all great, but why? How does grounding do that? How does grounding make the blood separate? How does it return it to normal viscosity? Nobody knew. And so then Gaetan Chevalier down in San Diego and Stephen and a couple of us, we got together and we created a way that we could measure electrons on red blood cells.
Oh, cool.
So we knew that if your blood is thick and sticky and you're on blood thinners and all that kind of stuff, it's because your blood doesn't have enough electrons. I mean, they're sharing electrons and sticking together and creating rouleau formations and so on. But as soon as you ground the body to the earth, the blood travels once a minute throughout the system. And what we found is after 30 minutes, we increased the negative surface charge, the number of electrons on red blood cells, by 270%. That's a published study that's access to the world. Everybody has.
Wow. That's actually news. I have not come across that study.
Okay, that's Stephen's blood viscosity study.
And for listeners, there's a whole field of research called dark field microscopy, where you look at living blood. It's very common in Europe. We've been able to do it for a very long time. In the U.S., there's been concerted efforts by big pharma companies to say that there's no validity to it, which is frankly nonsense. You can see, and I've been doing this for 30 years, go into someone who does it, and you can see, are your red blood cells stacked together, which means that you're at a higher risk of stroke and heart attack and clots, or are they floating freely? And anything you do that changes it, whether it's coenzyme Q10 or sunlight or earthing, you can measure a difference. In fact, some of the tech that I have here in something like 20 studies using dark field microscopy can affect blood coagulation. This isn't even earthing. This is a quantum thing, but it's a way of knowing whether it works.
This is what happens to you won't be able to show this on the screen, but this is what happens to a cardiologist's blood. This is before.
Oh, this is cool. I'll hold that up. We can probably get it on the camera. If not, if you send us this, we'll...
Yeah, you can have that, or I can send you the slides.
Right. And I don't know if the camera can zoom in on that.
But that's
so
cool. That's
first
before.
one, fluffy, stuck together. And then the second one...
That's just by grounding the body to earth. That's just by putting your bare feet on the earth.
And even better, this is a cardiologist's blood, which is
These
funny.
are all cardiologists' blood. There was a dozen of them in the study.